I'll start this off with a question. My Mario engine, Rubijune Alpha, and my Terraminer series of games. What do they all use? Well, the answer is simple. Tile scrolling. Let me explain with an example. They all use tiles to draw their thing. Sort of like over here, you can see that they're made up of individual blocks. In this tutorial, we will be making one. So, I went to my profile and remix a new project which I made, which will be called Remix My Assets for the tutorial. I'll provide the link in the description. So, once you've found yourself on my tutorial, you should remix it. Because I'm on my own account, you can't see it. But the remix button should look a little bit like this. And click it, and off you go. After remixing, you need to press the green flag to reset any thumbnails or something of that sort. As you can see, it's reset, and with the thumbnail sprite in place, delete it. You don't want to delete the player or anything. And the first thing which you need to do is go into Tiles and press show on the sprite. Okay, now you can see that the sprite is really tiny. You can barely see it with the naked eye. That's because it only has a size of 16. So let's bump that number up. Something like, put up the green flag, and then pull up a size block. And let's set the size to 200%. If it can finally grab. I'm sorry that part was out of focus. So then, we set this value to 200. So now you can see that the sprite is a tiny little bit bigger. And we will use this sprite a lot. As always, I always make a mistake. And this time it's a 200 size. Set it to 250. And now, time for the most crucial part of this tutorial, the pen extension. It's the way in which we will draw our sprites. Riftbatch likes to use clones, but I personally don't. And immediately, we get the erase all block. Ignore that other extension. You don't need it. And then, once you've done that, create a separate script. So drag with me, I repeat 10. Drag with me, I repeat 10. Thank you. And a set motion block. And for now, let's set this to -64. And then, once we set it to -64, then we need to do something important. Another mistake again. This should be 300. No, it should not. Let's go for 250 again. This will require some trial and error, which I'm not a fan of. And then, scroll down until you can see the change Y block. And then, you drag the change Y block up until the repeat 10 script. With that script in place, you you have to set this to change by 32. And then the stamp thing. And then you need to drag this thing until you reach the pen extension. Yeah. So now, grab the stamp block, and then you put it in front. Now, click the green flag and press the script. And woohoo! You can see that there's a tower by using one of our sprites. And trial and error has to work, because there's a slight gap between everything. So, set with me. The size to 260. Click the green flag and click your script again. And woohoo! This is perfect. We will use that. And now, for the second part of our raster, the x-axis. And this will be pretty simple. Bring in a repeat block again. And then drag in again a repeat 10. Put this into repeat 10. Outside of the blue script, which will be above it. Let me explain. Let's put this there, and this in the other repeat loop. And so now, drag in a set Y block. Set a set Y block. And set the set Y block to -64. And with that, drag in another block. This time, move by x-axis. Which will change your x. And grab your x-axis script. Okay. And then set it to 32. Okay. Let's test it. Click the green flag and press your script. If everything works, you should do this. And it worked. So now, let's choose a different costume. The start thing will be perfect for demonstrating this. Click the green flag again. Click our script again. Woohoo! It works! And pretty well. So now, once you've done that, let's make this instantaneous by using one of my best friends' custom block. Press the make custom block and name the custom block Draw. And this is important, click the run without screen refresh. Click OK. Okay. And put the hat thing of the draw block on there. And then put the draw thing under the when flag clicked. This should do it instantly. Woohoo! Time to play around with the values. So, this first value, set this first value to 240 minus 240. This value to minus 180. Then that, after you've done that, set this value, the top value, to 16 and this value to 12. So now the script should look like this, and it should do a lot more stuff. Let's see how fast it can do it. Wow, that was blazing fast. And the reason for the glitch was because we forgot to set this to minus 240. Minus 240. So now when we click it, it should hopefully work. Yeah! Look at that, a full screen of tiles. So let's do something else. What about some random generation? Well, this is simple. Just switch the costume to a random one every single cycle. Let's just use the standard 1 to 10. So now when we click it, it should generate random terrain by using our tiles. Sorry for mouse issues, I'm using a different computer. So now we got the basis of our tile system done. So now let's make some improvements to our script. First of all, we need to set this value to 180, found at the bottom thing. And then, ignore all the blocks. We need to drag in a show at the top of this script. Like that. And if you're wondering what these are for, it's for proper alignment. So drop in a switch costume to costume 4, set size to 260, and switch costume to costume 12 under this thing. And also drag one in under here. Oh, and to solve a glitch, we need to move this thing upwards by 1 block. Then drag this previous script to where the stamp thing was. And so now, you should experience no changes. No wonder why it doesn't work now. Ah yeah, because I need to put in this extra hide at the bottom. Again, mouse issues. Now, it should work. And while it does look the same as before, and you might think they only add a layer of complication, and it does, it will be pivotal for when we add scrolling. And now, for some work by using lists. So, click on the generated sprite, and then move on to the variables thing. Okay, done. And drag in a new variable, no new variables yet. Drag in a new list, and call the list tiles. And leave it for all sprites. Now, in this tiles list, all of our tiles will be stored. And we won't do too much today with this. So you can hide the tile script. So you drag in a when flag clicked, repeat and another repeat in that. And then we can drag in and add thing to tiles. Like I said, drag in and add thing block to tiles. I just sometimes hate this mouse. Yes! And then add it in this middle thing. And then on the top of that, add a delete all of tiles. This is going to be a long day. So now, when we showed the tiles thing, it should have generated stuff in it. But what stuff? You can't just leave it as thing. So now, we're going to drag in a repeat block. Let's do the repeat 1 to 10 thing again. So, now we need to create 2 more variables. The first variable will be called world width. And leave it for all sprites. Now, a new variable called world height. World height. And click OK. So now, drag in the set variable block. Yes. And then set world height to the first of this thing. 16. Set to 16. And put it in the second loop. And put world width in the first loop. And then what am I doing? Then drag in set world width and set it to 16. 16 and world height to 12. Nope. 16 and this is 12. No, not 16. 12. And if everything works, you should get exactly 577 tiles. So, what will we use this list for? It seems very redundant, doesn't it? Well, we will store the tiles on the list. So click back onto the tiles sprite, if it will work, and create a new block. And call it Find I. Run without screen refresh. And click OK. So then, with this Find I, try to place it under something. Yes. No, actually place it above this thing. So now that I've got it done, let's actually define what this does. So create a new variable and call it I. And choose for this sprite only. Click OK. And then at the top, drag in a set I block and set it to 0 and drag it under the draw thing. And now with Find I, drag another block of the same type and drag it in and set I to I plus 1 plus, no, I plus 1. So why haven't we just dragged in a change I by 1? Well, it'll be important later for scrolling, like most things. And then, instead of the spec random 1 to 10, we should drag in a switch costume to item I of tiles. And you can throw out this block. So now, when we place this here, it should function the same. And, oh no, it looks as though we have a bug. We forgot to reset the entire thing. So drag in, delete all of tiles and put it under the green flag. Now, it should hopefully work, but it doesn't. I found a solution to our problems. Just put a show at the top of the draw script and put a wait 0 seconds. And now, for the most important part, click into this and create a new block. Name the block Instant. So now, click the Run Without Screen Refresh. click OK. Put the instant hat block down to the repeat script. And then put the instant down below the delete all of tiles. Again, mouse issues. You'll see a lot of this in this video. So now, it should hopefully work. And as you can see, it does. But with an even worse mouse than before. So, now time for the scrolling. Click into the variables thing, and then press the make a variable button, and type in scroll X, full sprites, and then scroll Y. Again for all sprites and click OK. So now, drag in a set my variable, and then change this to scroll X, duplicate it, set it to scroll Y. And leave them as B. Put them under here. Now for some variable cleanup. As you can see, this looks very messy. So now, time to clean this up. So hide the tiles list, the world height and world width thing. And then, now also go to tiles and hide the list I, since we don't need it. And all we need to leave is the scroll X and scroll Y variables, which we will use. And then, just click on them like that. We will use them for scrolling. So, now, time to improve this script to actually feature scrolling. We'll do X scrolling first. So, remove this script. And now, drag in an X position divided by 40, and then a plus 75. Drag the X position, which I previously mentioned, over here. Then, put it in another plus, specifically on this side. So now, drag in a scroll X divided by 40 and put it over here. We'll just throw that out. And now, we got the X position done. Time for the Y position. So, duplicate this plus. And now, we can begin to program the other parts. So, duplicate it again. And then, throw out all of this. Wait, I made a mistake. These shouldn't be 40, these should be 32s. 32. 32. And then, there should be 32. And then, throw out this and put in a Y variable. So now, I'll be right back. So, now, you need to change the 7.5 to just a 7. And then, this scroll X to 32. And replace the scroll X with a scroll Y. And this hopefully should work. So then, drag in the aforementioned plus. Then, drag this onto the left side. And then, drag this script onto the right side. You can throw out these old scripts. Oh wait, I forgot something. Drag in a multiply thing, and then also drag in a world height. And then change this to 6.5. No, don't. Then drag in this entire script over here. And if everything works, this should work. So now, go for an extra step, drag this into some free space. I know that this entire operation is extremely long, but it's the best we've got. And now, when we click the green flag, everything should hopefully work. And you see, it does. Okay, so how do you make it actually scroll? Well, put your cursor on this and then change the world width and world height. So for example, change the world width to 20 and the world height to 16. Just some random arbitrary numbers. And now, when I click this, it should hopefully work. And to make this scroll, just put this entire thing in a forever loop. I know that it might sound inefficient to draw out every single of these blocks 30 times per second, but thankfully, scratch stamping has gotten extremely fast. So no need to worry there. Just ignore what I'm doing. This needs to be... And now, it should hopefully work. But, we are scrolling up with the scroll X. So, let's rename the variables. Actually, no, we shouldn't rename them. And why not? That is because I forgot to add something. The floor operator. Drag in the scroll X and put it in the floor operator. Then duplicate this script to get the floor operator back. And then use it on the scroll Y. So now, for some script cleanup. To make this feel less cluttered. So now let's click the flag. we should get a new set of random terrain. And look at this. The tiles are offsetting. Hooray! Does the scroll Y also work? Yes, it works. Looks like we have it. It works. But the movement is extremely choppy, and we don't want that. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to offset the tiles. So drag with me. The change X block. Change X block. And the change Y block. Then place them like this. So now, click into the variables and drag out your scroll X and scroll Y variables. And drag out a mod operator. This will be important. So drag out a mod and set this value to 32. That is the right value. And put scroll X in this. And then drag out a minus operator. And then copy and paste the script, duplicate, and replace scroll X with scroll Y. And put scroll Y in the Y thing, and scroll X in the X thing. So, I know there's too many steps, but duplicate the script and throw out the minus. Leaving just the scroll X and do the same for this thing. No, not that. So now, press the stop button over here. And then, in this find I thing, drag in the script just before you stamp the blocks. That's the minus script. And then, put this script after it. And now, the tile should offset. But they don't. Something weird is going on here. And we need to solve it. Well, the glitch was fixed by some script reordering. First of all, you need to put down the Switch costume 2 down there. And then copy and paste these blocks, Switch costume to costume 4 set size, and drag them right above here. And then you just replace these blocks. Putting the change Y by 32 over here. Then dragging the Lux blocks below it. Above it. So now, when we click the green flag, we get almost perfect scrolling. But unfortunately, one issue still prevails. If you look on the far right, you can see that there's this white thing. We don't want that. Oh yeah. And it also exists on the top. This can easily be fixed by overscanning. What is overscanning? Well, go into these loops and just increase them by 1. Changing to 16 to a 17. And this 12 to a 13. 13. By overscanning, we can fill in these gaps with the tiles, and it should remove the white bar glitch. As you can see, it's unnoticeable. Hooray! And that's it. So now, please like and subscribe, because there will be more tutorials out very soon. Next up, we might add a character and a level editor, and then we'll double into level codes, or save codes, and how to save our levels. And I hope that the series will be great, and keep on scratching, guys. This is Ouija334.